Welcome to this week's Bio 113 walkthrough. So we're doing chemistry of macromolecules. If you are in my hybrid class, we are still online this week. The KCTCS system has asked us to stay at home, stay away from campus as much as we can. So we are still at home. We will meet on Thursday morning at 9:30 to 11:30 to go over the materials. If you are in my online class, this doesn't make any difference to you, except you can also stop by at 9:30 and stop by and I'll go over the materials. Just send me a quick email and I'll send you a guest link um, to the session where we're going to be at. But let's go click on to Chemistry of Macromolecules, which is what we're going to be doing this week. Starts out with an overview of the macromolecules. And what we're going to do is a bunch of different experiments. We're going to first talk about macromolecules, which are the building blocks. You are what you eat. So that's going to be what we're going to be going over in the lab handout. There's going to be a lecture. And then in the lab, we're going to be looking at color changes that happen when you test for different macromolecules. So, and then your assignment is going to be a LabSTA simulation, a lecture quiz, and a lab handout quiz. So click on the next part. As usually, lab handout is going to be able to be found here. And I'm going to open it up real quick. So here's the lab handout. And in this lab handout, it talks to you about the scientific method because we're doing a couple of experiments and we're going to talk about controls and I think dependent and independent variables. So look at that again. But this talks to you about the different macromolecules and then the different activities that you're going to do to detect them. There is a question set starting at page 10 as far as this thing is concerned. And this question set, you're going to fill in this question set in the shape of a quiz again. So fill this out so you have it, but you're going to submit it as a quiz. So there's your PowerPoint here. The lecture, the PowerPoint is in this folder again. You continue, and if you don't have this arrow over there, you can always just close it and go to the next part. If you've got the arrow, you can go to the demonstration. Now, what we normally do is, so I talk about the tests here, and I talk about what we normally do, but it's really difficult to kind of give you a real sense of that. So one of the things I've done is I've made this activity where you can actually play through this activity, but this is optional. If you can't get the activity to work, so the activity where you can download the activity, I'll show you in the optional materials. But if you can't get the activity to work, you can watch this Excel activity where I literally walk through every step of what you would be doing in the lab. Here is Chemistry of Macromolecules, just the Google site that I oftentimes send you to. It shows you a couple of the experiment, and this is really what the colors are. I mean, it really is it's a beautiful experiment. And this is, what it looks like when you're doing some of these things. Um, but to the assignments, you've got the lab handout, the question set. Here's where the materials are. You're doing the macromolecule set quiz. You're doing the handout question set quiz. And there's a Labster activity. The Labster activity is, I'm going to go out, go to Labster. And the Labster activity here is the introduction to food macromolecules. And I'm going to have to change the due date for that one, which I will do. And back to assignments here. So we were here. Then you get to the quiz, and I don't think it's going to let me go any further without actually doing. Maybe it will. Oh, it does. Look at that. Let's see if it'll let me go to the next thing. No, not yet. Okay. So, which brings me, actually, I'm going to just go in. It'll show up as soon as you do this, the optional parts are going to show up for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you where you find the activity. So the activity is right here where it says activity. And what you have to do is you have to download this to your local computer. It won't work if you use it from the computer, like in this configuration. It won't work. So you actually literally have to take it over here and then save it as a downloaded copy on your computer. And the moment you download it to your computer, you can then actually use it, and it'll be an activity you can actually do. So here is, you have to enable the content. Come on, enable the content. And once you enable the content, you can then, so you've got a bunch of tubes here. You can click on here to set up the tubes. Ignore the clicky, the jumping of back and forth. I don't quite know how to fix that yet. Working on that one. Then you always have to label the tubes. So the labels are actually right over here. You can see them right there. You label the tubes, and like I said, this in and out thing you're gonna just have to deal with. And then you're gonna add down here. You've got your water, your protein, your starch, and your lipids. Here's your chart, what you're supposed to add where. So A1 gets water and burette. You're going to have to start with water. If you add water to A1, okay, you see how the water gets added to A1. Then you're going to add water to B1. So we're going to add some more water to B1. And then it adds water to B1, etc., etc. And you can work this through there pretty much the way you would normally do this in the lab. And that's it for this week's assignment.